Hey everybody, yesterday was the hottest day of the year beyond off-grid here in Central Texas. 106 degrees. And the question we get the most year after year after year is how do you live there off-grid and how do you deal with the heat? So that's what we're going to talk about today and how we do stuff. Stick around. Dealing with the heat out here is something we're used to. We've been living out here for 13 years in the heart of Central Texas without grid utilities, no air conditioning, no electricity except for slight amount down here at the office to charge phones and laptops and whatnot in order to do my work. We charge some batteries for some small fans that I'll show you, but for the most part we live in this environment the old school way. And so today we're going to talk about staying cool or surviving the heat beyond off-grid in Central Texas. And yesterday was a brutal mind siege. We use that term. We use that term a lot out here. And usually things are a lot better than people think. We didn't have a single day that I can remember of 100 degrees last year. And every year we have 8 months of nearly perfect weather. So it's been a long time since we've had a day like we had yesterday. Yesterday hit 106 degrees. And after 10 days over 100, it was a gut punch. It was definitely a punch in the nectar. I had a bunch of questions. How do you do it? How do you survive out there when it's really hot? And we've had years that it was 4 months of this type of weather. So thought I'd put together some information and some tricks and things that we do. And you guys have seen me. I've done a couple of videos on keeping cool with drinks. I've shown my cistern this season, putting drinks down in the cistern, the root cellar, etc. And so I'm going to kind of put some of those things together for this video for people who might be new to me or new to this idea, and we'll talk about a lot about that. There's a lot of tricks to staying cool. One of those is the way that you building so that you have a lot of cross flow. Right now I'm sitting in front of a window that is open, and right across from me I'm in the path of a doorway that has a screen. So if perhaps a breeze was, there's no breeze right now. And I want to tell you guys, today is a lot cooler. It's been overcast most of the day. Sun's just now coming out. It's very humid, but it's only supposed to get up to like 91 today. So we've got a little bit of a cold front, and so we're thanking God for that. Anyways, building so that you can have a cross breeze, so that you can let the heat out, is very, very important. And we've learned a lot about that since we've been here. And I went back and studied like antebellum southern houses and how they were built. Things like the shotgun house, which is a long, thin house that has a open front door, open back door, and it'll actually draw air through the house. And if you have a breeze coming from another direction, you have cross windows and an open format so that you can get the air moving. We've done a lot of that in our building. Down here at the office, I have 5 windows and a door across the north side. I've got 3 windows across the south side because I have my wood burner and I don't have windows there. And that allows me, with the predominant breezes, to constantly keep a breeze coming through here. One thing I would do differently is these windows are standard size windows and they are 3 feet off the ground. I would start these windows at maybe 2 feet off the ground, and I would run them higher. And either put the same size window with a smaller window above it, all the way up to the ceiling, so that you can open those top windows and let the heat out. but you also want to have the breeze coming in at a lower level, because sometimes I have to sit up like this to get the breeze if I'm sitting in a chair. Sitting outside is great, but a lot of times here in the summer we've got mosquitoes and other bugs, and I'll get to that. And so back to the topic. How do we live this way? So we find tricks. A lot of it has to do with building and placement and where we are, finding the cool places on the land, taking breaks, stay hydrated. That's number one rule. Make sure you stay hydrated, and that's very, very tough to do, because when you live off grid, unless you have a cistern that you can go get cool water from, if you just have a water container like I have down here at the office, and if it's 106 degrees, that water is 106 degrees or 100 degrees, and it makes you not want to drink it. And so we have to find other ways to make sure that we stay hydrated. But you have to stay hydrated. You have to make sure you're getting your salts and your electrolytes and all those things. Pickles is a great way to make sure you're getting your electrolytes. You don't cramp up, and those things allow your body to do its natural cooling. The other thing is that we don't do a lot of the things that moderns do that are contrary to staying healthy and cool. We don't walk around half naked. We don't walk around with flip-flops and shorts and t-shirts for the most part. Those things are actually contrary to you staying cool. It seems like it's counterintuitive, but if you go to the hottest places on the earth, especially in the deserts and the Sahara, you'll find people completely cover themselves. They allow their natural sweat and that system to work. For most moderns, that system does not work because they're constantly applying deodorant, washing off their natural emollients on their skin. They're walking around unclothed, which allows them to be tricked into thinking that their body is cooling itself or that it's getting rid of its toxins and all that, when it's really not. And so, we stay clothed. We stay as much as we can out of the direct sun unless we have to do something. We try to get a lot of work done earlier in the day. Well, when we very first got started out here, we moved out here in 2005. And it stopped raining in October, November of 2005, and did not rain again until August of 2006. Not more than enough, a couple droplets. And so we would get up at 4:30 in the morning. We were milking a longhorn, that's a whole other video I'm going to have to make sometime about milking a longhorn. These are not milk cows. And we would milk these longhorns at 4:30 in the morning, and then we would go down to our pond, and it had dried out from the drought, so we were digging it out and building the dam, raising up the dam, and we would do that work from 4:30 to 6:30 or 7, have our breakfast, and then we were done until later in the day. We just made sure that we stayed cool. Went down to the root cellar when we finished the root cellar, or stayed in the shade, caught a breeze, went to a nearby creek or something, wet our shirts, and just stayed cool and let our natural cooling system work, staying hydrated and all of those things. Here's a trick I learned a couple of years ago, and it seems like it's kind of intuitive, but it's really not. And that is, if you do have a way to keep drinks cool, like I've showed in a previous video, you can apply those to, and what I've got here is a Ozarka sparkling water. So there's no calories, sugars, sweeteners, or colors. I'm not advertising for this. I don't get any pay or anything, but this is just something we picked up on sale, and we may not even drink it. The point is that aluminum transmits cold and heat very, very well. And so if you can get this cool in the cistern or in the root cellar, or if you happen to be able to get ice, and you can put a 12-pack of this on ice and just keep them in there. And then what we do is, and I used to do this every night before I would go to bed, is you apply it to the parts of your body where your arteries or your blood is flowing the closest to the surface. And you just do it as a system. I start off with my wrists, and you hold it there for a good long time till it actually feels cold to you, and it's actually cooling your blood. And then I do it on the other side, and I will keep doing this. I would do this lying in bed before I would go to sleep. I would place it on the center of my chest, put both wrists over it, and you can actually feel yourself start to cool down. This is a little harder for me with the beard, but right on your carotid, and hold it there for a good long time and this is the blood that's actually going into your brain, so you're cooling. And do that on the other side. In pretty much every place, you go into here. Every place where your blood is passing right along the surface. The reason that you have these places in your body where your blood travels that close to the surface is to help it cool down. Do it down in the groin area on both sides, up underneath the back of the knee. And a lot of times when it was really hot for months on end, and I was doing this every night, you know, by the time you get through the whole process, this is pretty much the same temperature as your blood was. I'd go put this back on the ice and get another one. Or go put this back in the root cellar or in the cistern and get another one. And I'd keep doing it until eventually I felt really, really cool. And at night, if you wet your shirt, and we've got our bed raised so that the bed level is at the same level as the window. We open the door and we get a cross breeze coming right in through there. You cool off. It gets down in the 70s or 60s at night. And, you know, there are those nights where it's 80 degrees or whatever, and those are just going to be miserable nights. And we try to catch a nap during the day too, and sometimes we would go down in the root cellar, and I'll show that, run the footage. Woo! So it's 106 degrees up top, and I don't know what the temperature is down here. About 70, 72 maybe. And then I brought a battery powered fan down here, so when you get 34 degrees cooler down the root cellar plus a battery powered fan moving that air, man, it's like full on air conditioning. So that's one of the ways that we stay cool. It's 106 up top right now, and maybe it may have cooled down a degree or two, but that's what it was not 15-20 minutes ago. So I'm gonna hang out down here until my blood temperature gets down a little cooler. And this is what we used to do when we first moved out here. We didn't have the fans, but come down here to 70 degrees, 72 degrees, you actually get kind of cold. All right, so I'll check with y'all later. Anyways, we'd go down the root cellar and lay down in a cot and get cool. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. This is a great way to stay cool. And if you don't want to use aluminum, or you don't want to buy these at the store, or if you don't have ice, you can use you know, a ball jar with water in it. You can use, you know, I did the small beer video. You can use those small beers, hang them down in the cistern until they're cold, and then do that. Keep your blood cool. Finding a breeze is great. We also have fans that are battery powered up at the cottage. We have these Ryobi fans I've shown on several videos. They use an 18 volt, and I'll put a link down in the comments, not the comment section, in the description, that show the Ryobi fans that we use. Ryobi, I know someone's going to probably make fun of me saying Ryobi. Ryobi fans, they use 18 volt. We use those for our power tools. We also use them for fans and for battery charging our phones, etc. Down here at the office, because I do have solar power when the sun's out, I have a small fan. This has batteries, D batteries, but it also will run directly off of AC power. And so like right now there's enough of sun out, I can run this fan. It's just kind of loud. And that just gets just a little bit of air movement really makes a big difference. And so I'm going to show a few other ways that we stay cool, some of the places we go and what we do. And hopefully it'll be something that you're interested in learning about. There's a little fan here. It looks like a cat. And
no, a bear.
Yeah, it's a rechargeable little personal fan. And where'd you get it?
I got this from Jennifer for Mother's Day this year, and it works great. I use it at night. It lasts about 5 or 6 hours. And then if it happens to shut off during the night, I can just plug it in with a mini USB and charge it, and it'll start working again. It takes about 4 hours to charge and lasts about 6 hours on low. It has 3 settings. low, medium, and high.
So
And
when you say you can plug it in, if the battery goes dead at night, you're talking about you can just run it off of another battery source through mini USB. All right.
That's a little mini USB.
And it takes about 4 hours to charge it?
Yes.
And is this, how's this compare with having like the Ryobi blowing on you at night? Ryobi,
Well,
however you say it.
It blows pretty well on the low setting, and so I've been pleased with it because I keep it close, kind of like on my nightstand, and it blows on me, and I haven't, woken up hot or anything like that. So it's pretty comparable to the one I used to keep in the windowsill, and it just blows right on me.
Well, do you know what the brand name of it is? Or I have to look it up.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and I think it's it's OURRY or something like that, but it's on Amazon.
Okay, well, I'll find it, and I'll put the links down in the description. All right, thank you, Danielle.
Bye.
One of the things we did a couple of years ago down here at the office is we built this deck up here, kind of over an extension of the office. I don't have stairs going up to it yet, but I do have a ladder. And we did that so when it was really, really hot in the evening, just as it started to cool down, sun was going down out to the west, and we would go up here and sit in chairs, and we could catch a breeze that maybe there wouldn't be a breeze down here at ground level, and it would get us up above the bug level too. So that's one of the things we do to cool down. I plan on building a set of steps up to this deck so we can use it more often. But that's one of the things we did, is just find an area that can be cool, that fits your requirements, and work on that so you have a place to go when you want to get cool. I'm down here in the woods by my office, and one of the things we would do quite often, now it's been very, very dry and very hot, so but sometimes we'll get a flash rain, and we might get an inch or two of rain. It'll overflow the dam at my pond. It'll flow down through this creek that's right behind me and fill it up, and it's pretty deep. Right here it's 2 or 3 feet deep, although it's totally dry. It's a runoff creek. And we would come down here a couple of days after it rained, get really, really hot and humid, and we'd come down here and sit in this creek in the evening, and that was very, very enjoyable. And a lot of times that water was really, really cool, and it would really cool you off. Now we have to have rain for this to work now. We haven't had a rain in a while. This creek is just dead empty. But that's another thing we used to do to cool off, is find out where there are places, and there are places nearby here that we can get to. right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this as much as we all did. Thank you all for paying attention and for listening, and if you do have any questions or comments, make sure you put them down in the comment section. Do please subscribe, and after you subscribe, there's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button. That lets you know every time I put a new video up, and it's very important to make sure that people are watching the videos and that you're sharing, so that we can try to make this into a success. Well, thanks again, and we'll be showing you how we do stuff soon.